The call to arms, the scream of countless annihilated Fula echoed in Major Nathan Pierce's mind as he stared at footage of their fleets crushed by the Atraxi war machine. Humanity's next move would make the whole galaxy tremble. Rumors of unstoppable Atraxi conquest spread like wildfire in the fragile bubble of human space. He knew the time had come. The fate of humanity now rested on his shoulders. Pierce gathered his elite team in secret, aware each might fly on a one-way trip into the jaws of the beast. With extinction looming, they raced into the darkness on the Nightshade. If they failed, mankind would follow the Fula scream into oblivion. The mission begins. The Nightshade moved silently through space, cloaked in shadow. Stars flickered outside the window. Wreckage floated everywhere. Broken ships from the fight with the Fula. Major Nathan Pierce stared at the broken hulls and wings. Each one meant more dead from the Atraxi attack. The console pinged. A weak distress call came through with coordinates. "Lieutenant Shao, look at this," Pierce said, his hand hovering over the controls. Shao read the data. "It's a civilian ship caught in their blockade," she said. "Could be a trap." Sergeant Alvarez looked grim. "They'll die if we don't move," he said urgently. Pierce clenched his jaw. The mission was secret, but he wouldn't abandon civilians, not on his watch. "We go in," he decided firmly. The rescue. The Nightshade dove, dodging debris. They slipped past sensors using blind spots just barely wide enough. Shao worked the console, focused. "Disabling their sensors now," she said. The blockade went dark. The civilian ship ahead flickered weakly as they cried for help through the radio. Pierce guided them alongside it. "Cargo hold, get ready to board," Pierce said. He glanced at Shao and Alvarez. "Lieutenant, get those people." Soon, the survivors came aboard, faces showing terror and relief. A young man held a data pad tightly to his chest. He went to Pierce, shaking. "They took everything, but I hid this," he said, offering the data pad. "It has security data, could help you hack them." Pierce nodded, determined. The gift meant more than the man knew. The escape. As the Nightshade retreated, Atraxi warships appeared, weapons humming with threat. "Full power to engines now," Pierce yelled. Shao complied instantly. The ship rode forward in defiance. Enemy fire chased them. Pierce weaved through each near explosion, shuddering the crew. Alvarez pointed at an asteroid field ahead. A place to lose pursuit, but also risk death. Pierce steered them inside. The Nightshade danced between the rocks and metal, threading the needle's eye. They held their breath through the gauntlet. The bigger Atraxi ships fell behind until shots ceased. The crew exhaled together in the silence. Hidden for now, safe in the asteroids, Pierce looked around at their blazing eyes. The near-death had ignited their spirit. They had seen the enemy's weakness. The Nightshade flew on, humanity's flames still burning against empires. Pierce and his crew moved forward, bonded and resolute. They would complete their mission, no matter the cost. The hidden station. Discovery. The sensors on the Nightshade picked up the faint pulse of power. It came from an abandoned research station once run by the Atraxi. Major Pierce leaned in close to the screen. Finding this old tech was like striking gold. "This could be big," Pierce said, steady and low. The crew crowded around the display. Alvarez tapped his thigh, thinking hard about the defenses they might face. "If their systems are as outdated as we think, I can hack in," he said, ready for the challenge. Pierce nodded sharply. "Do it." Infiltration. They flew the Nightshade up to the research station, a ghost against the black of space. Shao kept her hands light on the controls. The engines were whispers, moving them closer. Their cloaking tech kept them hidden from scans. Alvarez's tools clicked and whirred as he hacked the dusty exterior hatch. His breath misted inside his helmet. The old security was no match for him. The airlock hissed open, an ancient tomb full of secrets waiting for them. Pierce's boots rang loud on the metal floor, leading the way in. The others followed, lights cutting through the dark. They landed on a console humming with power. Alvarez worked fast, breaking encryption at blazing speed. Pierce watched the progress bar slowly fill the screen. The prize. Find anything good. More than good, Alvarez said, eyes wide at the data flooding the display. It's plans for a weapon called the Solarian Pulse. Pierce's heart pounded at what this could mean, a way to shift the war. But the station shuddered awake around them, old machines groaning, security up. Xiao pulled her gun as alarms blared. They scrambled through narrow halls, lights flashing on and sirens screaming. The station knew they were aboard. They ran from closing walls as a countdown echoed all around. Xiao slipped on a grate, leg trapped. Go, she yelled, but Pierce was there to grab and lift her up while Alvarez covered them. Got part of the plans, Xiao gasped, clutching the drive. The only thing that mattered now. The nightshade waited close, but time grew short. One last groan of metal, then heat on their backs as they dove aboard. The station erupted into silent fire behind them. Resolve, Xiao, hurt but stable, the crew looked at each other, knowing they'd barely escaped with a vital find. Pierce met their eyes one by one. We've got a weapon to build, he said, heavy with their mission and no room for mistakes. They all nodded, resolve hardened. Humanity's last hope was in their hands. They would not fail. The nightshade moved tiredly towards the asteroids. The small mining colony that seemed untouched by the wars raging across the galaxy. Major Nathan Pierce stood straight in the cockpit, guiding their approach. The airlock doors creaked open as the nightshade landed. Dim lights flickered across the weathered faces and muscular hands of the miners, hardened by labor and hardship. They circled the crew cautiously, their movements deliberate and guarded. We need a safe place to repair our ship and rest, Pierce stated firmly. We fight the Atraxi, not join them. Murmurs passed between the miners as they weighed whether to help or turn away these strangers. One older miner stepped forward, scars etched deep in his face, eyes steady. You'll bring more attacks here. Why help you? Pierce held the man's gaze. The Atraxi will come either way. Together, we might survive to fight another day. The miners exchanged looks, acknowledging the truth in his words and the danger at their doorstep. Slowly, they nodded and motioned the crew to follow deeper inside. The battle for survival. Preparation. While Xiao healed from her grave injuries, Alvarez studied the colony's machines alongside the engineers. They clustered around cluttered workbenches, trading theories and connecting circuits to build their makeshift weapon. Time ticked away as they lost themselves in their work, acutely aware of the looming Atraxi threat. The air grew taut with tension, interrupted only by the periodic clank of metal and beep of successful connections. A wave of triumph washed over them as the weapon core took shape, crude but hopefully sufficient. Dust and sweat covered their grinning faces. We might just stand a chance now, Alvarez said, eyes shining with fragile hope. The attack, it didn't last. The colony's alarm suddenly screamed, shattering the heavy silence. Atraxi drones hovered like vultures over the vulnerable outpost. Pierce marched among the miners, hastily preparing their defenses. His footsteps echoed on the metal flooring. We stand together now. Your home is ours, and we protect our own. Sparks flew as the miners tore apart machinery to make weapons. Sparks screamed as they carved shields and barricades from metal panels. Everyone worked urgently, faces set with determination as the first Atraxi forces swarmed in. The united colony roared to life. Defense. Jury-rigged turrets spat bullets into the starry void. Miners and crew stood shoulder to shoulder, grimly exchanging fire. Gunshots became a relentless rhythm of survival. Pierce commanded from the front line, shouting orders over the deafening sounds of war. Hold the line, buy us more time. The impact shook the fragile colony, but the defenders stood firm. Amid the dust and flying debris, humanity, so often underestimated, now rose as one. They defiantly faced annihilation side by side. Unity. Major Nathan Pierce had sought only refuge here, but in the miner's courage, he had found allies ready to defy an empire and kindle hope from despair. Together, the Nightshade's crew and the colony now burned with an inner fire that gave even the mighty Atraxi pause. The colony shook as metal and fire rained down on it. "Hold them at bay." Major Pierce yelled over the noise. "Use the blast doors." Miners hid behind cover, plasma cutters flashing on in their hands. They sliced through the drones like they were scrap metal, melting piles of broken machines covering the ground. Wave after wave of Atraxi came. Their drones flew through the asteroid's carved tunnels, gunfire pinging loudly off rock and metal. Miners and crew stood together, sweat and dirt marking them as brothers in arms. They pushed the invaders back, turning their home's harsh tunnels into deadly traps. The turning point. Pierce's pulse raced as he saw the plan could work. The Solarian pulse, built from scraps, hummed, ready for its first test. "Alvarez, it's now or never," he called, gripping the weapon tightly. Alvarez nodded, his fingers flying over controls. Pierce stood tall, the improvised Solarian pulse now in hand. He felt its power, primitive yet raw. "Focus fire," he yelled. Miners opened holes in the ranks with their makeshift weapons. The Atraxi hesitated. Pierce aimed, stealing his resolve. A bright beam shot out, its radiance blinding. It seared into the largest Atraxi ship, cutting it down as it twisted in fiery death. The shockwaves sent drones spiraling off course. Victory. The Atraxi faltered, stunned by human defiance. The defenders fought harder, hope now blazing in their eyes. Slowly, Atraxi ranks broke. Defeat was a strange taste they now tasted as their empire's might receded. Pierce looked around, the battle was won. The colonists cheered, lifting weapons high. The enemy was repelled, the outpost stood. They had made the galaxy take notice. The reckoning. Aftermath. The colony buzzed with life. Miners repaired damages, while others celebrated their hard-won victory. Major Pierce stood among them, pride swelling in his chest. Xiao approached, limping slightly but with a fierce determination in her eyes. "We did it, Major. We showed them we're not just going to roll over." Pierce nodded. "This is just the beginning. We've proven that humanity can stand against them. Now we need to take the fight to the Atraxi." New alliances. News of the victory spread quickly through the human colonies and beyond. As the days passed, more ships arrived at the mining colony, bearing supplies, weapons, and volunteers. Representatives from other factions approached Pierce, offering their support and resources. Among them was a tall, imposing figure, a Thula survivor named Kura, seeking vengeance against the Atraxi. Kura's voice was like gravel. "We may be few, but our knowledge of Atraxi technology is vast. Together, we can build something powerful enough to challenge them." Pierce extended his hand. "Welcome to the fight, Kura." Building the resistance. With newfound allies, the Nightshade's crew and the colonists transformed the mining outpost into a hidden fortress. Engineers and scientists worked tirelessly, improving the Solarian pulse and creating new weapons. Training regiments turned miners into soldiers, their grit and determination becoming the backbone of the growing resistance. Pierce stood before a large holographic display detailing their next targets. "We need to hit them where it hurts. Supply lines, key installations, anything that can cripple their war machine." Xiao pointed at a heavily fortified station on the edge of Atraxi territory. "This station controls their communication network. If we take it out, we can cut off their command structure." Pierce grinned. "Then that's our next target." The infiltration. The Nightshade, now part of a small fleet, approached the Atraxi station under the cover of darkness. Pierce led the assault team, with Xiao, Alvarez, and Kura at his side. They docked with the station undetected, slipping through airlocks and corridors with practiced stealth. Kura hacked into the station's systems, her fingers dancing over the controls. I've disabled their alarms and opened a path to the command center. We must move quickly. They navigated the maze of corridors, encountering minimal resistance. The Atraxi, confident in their defenses, were unprepared for such a bold attack. The team reached the command center, where a small group of Atraxi officers scrambled to respond. Pierce and his team moved with precision, neutralizing the guards and securing the room. Alvarez quickly planted charges on the main console, his hands steady and efficient. Charges set. We've got 5 minutes to get out of here. As they made their escape, the station shook with explosions. The communication hub went dark, severing the Atraxi's coordination. The team returned to the Nightshade, the success of their mission evident in their faces. A growing threat. The Atraxi's response was swift and brutal. Their fleet moved to crush the resistance, attacking human colonies with renewed ferocity. But each strike only galvanized more people to join Pierce's cause. The resistance grew stronger, their raids becoming more daring and effective. Pierce stood on the bridge of the Nightshade, looking out at the stars. We're making progress, but this war is far from over. We need a decisive blow to turn the tide. Kura stepped forward, her eyes intense. The Atraxi have a superweapon, the Oblivion Cannon. It's capable of destroying entire planets. We need to destroy it before they use it. Pierce nodded. Then that's our mission. We take out the Oblivion Cannon and show the Atraxi that humanity will not be conquered. The final assault. The plan. The Resistance fleet gathered at a hidden rendezvous point, a mix of human and Thula ships ready for the ultimate mission. Pierce and his commanders huddled over a holographic map, detailing the location of the Oblivion Cannon. It was heavily guarded, surrounded by a massive fleet and fortified defenses. Xiao analyzed the data. We'll need to split our forces. One group will create a diversion, drawing their ships away. The main team will infiltrate the cannon's control center and plant charges to destroy it. Pierce looked around at the determined faces. This is it. Our chance to cripple their power and turn the tide. We fight not just for ourselves, but for every free being in the galaxy. The diversion. The Resistance fleet moved into position. Smaller ships darted ahead, engaging the Atraxi defenses with hit-and-run tactics. Explosions lit up the void as the Atraxi scrambled to respond. The larger ships followed, drawing more of the enemy fleet into the fray. On the Nightshade, Pierce led the main assault team, waiting for their moment. "Hold steady," he ordered, watching the battle unfold on the viewscreen. "We need them fully engaged before we make our move." As the Atraxi fleet thinned, focused on the diversion, Pierce gave the signal. "Now, move in." Infiltration and sabotage. The Nightshade and a small contingent of ships slipped through the weakened defenses, heading straight for the Oblivion Cannon. They docked with the massive structure, their stealth systems masking their approach. Pierce and his team disembarked, moving quickly through the corridors. Kura led the way, her knowledge of Atraxi technology invaluable. They encountered heavy resistance, but their training and determination saw them through. The team reached the control center, where the core of the superweapon hummed ominously. Alvarez began planting charges, his movements swift and practiced. "We've got 3 minutes. Let's get out of here." As they made their escape, Atraxi reinforcements poured in, the station's defenses coming online. Pierce fought off waves of soldiers, covering Alvarez as he set the final charges. The escape. With the charges set, the team raced back to the Nightshade. Explosions rocked the station and alarms blared. They reached the ship just as the timer hit 0. The Nightshade launched from the Oblivion Cannon, the station behind them erupting in a fiery chain reaction. The Resistance fleet retreated, the mission a success. The Oblivion Cannon was destroyed, its pieces scattering into space. The Atraxi fleet, now leaderless and disoriented, began to crumble. Victory and hope. The destruction of the Oblivion Cannon sent shockwaves through the galaxy. The Atraxi's iron grip weakened, their empire fracturing under the pressure. Colonies that had lived in fear now rose up, inspired by the Resistance's bravery. Pierce stood on the bridge of the Nightshade, looking out at the stars. "We did it," he said quietly, a smile breaking through his weary expression. "We gave humanity a fighting chance." Sho nodded, her eyes shining with hope. "This is just the beginning. We still have a long way to go, but now we know we can win." The crew of the Nightshade and their allies had done the impossible. They had stood against an empire and emerged victorious. The galaxy would never be the same, and the might of humanity had been revealed. Uncharted territories. Rebuilding. In the wake of their victory over the Oblivion Cannon, the Resistance found themselves in a new phase of their fight. Colonies across the galaxy began rebuilding, their newfound freedom energizing their efforts. Major Pierce and his crew of the Nightshade became symbols of hope and resilience. Sho oversaw the reconstruction efforts on various planets. "We need to ensure these colonies can defend themselves," she advised. "The Atraxi won't stay down forever." Pierce agreed, coordinating with allies to distribute resources and technology. "We're not just fighting a war. We're building a future where humanity can thrive without fear." Exploration and discovery. As the Resistance solidified its hold on liberated territories, they also turned their attention to exploration. Rumors of ancient technologies and forgotten civilizations piqued their curiosity. Pierce saw an opportunity to gain an edge in their ongoing struggle. The Nightshade embarked on a series of expeditions to uncharted regions of the galaxy. One such mission led them to a remote planet shrouded in mystery. Scans revealed traces of an ancient, powerful energy source buried deep beneath its surface. Pierce, Sho, Alvarez, and Kura led a team to the planet's surface. The terrain was harsh and unforgiving, but their determination drove them forward. As they ventured deeper into the planet's caves, they encountered remnants of an advanced civilization long gone. The ancient power. Deep within the caves, the team discovered a massive chamber filled with intricate machinery. At its center was a pulsating crystal, radiating energy. Kura examined it, her eyes wide with amazement. "This is unlike anything I've ever seen," she said. "If we can harness this energy, it could turn the tide of the war." Pierce nodded. "We need to get this back to the fleet, carefully." Transporting the crystal back to the Nightshade was no easy task. The team navigated treacherous terrain and fended off unexpected wildlife. But their perseverance paid off. Once aboard, scientists and engineers began studying the crystal, unlocking its potential. New technologies. The energy from the crystal led to breakthroughs in weaponry, shields, and propulsion systems. The Resistance fleet underwent a transformation, their ships becoming faster, more powerful, and more resilient. Morale soared as the promise of victory seemed within reach. Sho marveled at the advancements. "With this technology, we can take the fight to the Atraxi on a whole new level." Pierce stood on the bridge of the Nightshade, watching the upgraded fleet in action. "It's time we go on the offensive. The Atraxi have had their way for too long." Coordinated strikes. With their new technology, the Resistance launched a series of coordinated strikes against key Atraxi installations. The Nightshade led the charge, its crew executing daring missions with precision. Supply lines were cut, bases were destroyed, and the Atraxi found themselves on the defensive. During one such mission, the crew infiltrated an Atraxi research facility. Inside, they discovered horrifying experiments on captured humans and Thula. The sight steeled their resolve, igniting a burning desire for justice. Sho confronted an Atraxi scientist, her voice cold. "This ends now. Your cruelty will be your downfall." The final confrontation. As the Resistance gained momentum, they received intelligence about the Atraxi High Command. Hidden deep within their territory, this bastion was the heart of their operations. Pierce and his allies knew that striking it would be the decisive blow needed to end the war. The Resistance fleet gathered for the assault. Ships from all corners of the galaxy, human and Thula alike, stood ready. Pierce addressed the assembled forces. "This is our moment," he declared. "We fought hard and sacrificed much. Today we end this war, for our friends, our families, and our future." The assault begins. The fleet moved into position, their new technology giving them an edge. The battle was fierce, the Atraxi fighting desperately to defend their stronghold. The Nightshade led the charge, its weapons blazing. Pierce and his team boarded the Atraxi command ship, determined to take down the leadership. They fought their way through waves of soldiers, their resolve unshakable. Xiao, Alvarez, and Kuro were at his side, each playing a crucial role. The heart of the Empire. In the heart of the command ship, they confronted the Atraxi High Commander. A fierce battle ensued, the outcome teetering on a knife's edge. With a final, desperate push, Pierce and his team overwhelmed the commander, ending his reign of terror. As the Atraxi fleet crumbled, the Resistance emerged victorious. The galaxy breathed a collective sigh of relief. The war was over. A new dawn, celebrations and reflections. With the Atraxi defeated, celebrations erupted across the galaxy. Freed colonies rejoiced, their chains broken. On the Nightshade, the crew gathered to reflect on their journey and honor those they had lost. Pierce stood before his crew, a rare smile on his face. "We've come a long way together. We've shown that when humanity stands united, nothing can stop us." Xiao raised a glass. "To those we've lost and to the future we've won." Rebuilding the galaxy. The task of rebuilding began in earnest. The Resistance transitioned into a coalition of free worlds, working together to create a lasting peace. The Nightshade and its crew played a key role in these efforts, their experience and leadership invaluable. Kura took on a new mission, helping to integrate Fula technology with human advancements. Together, we can create a future where all beings can live in harmony. The legacy of the Nightshade. As the years passed, the Nightshade became a symbol of hope and resilience. Tales of its daring missions and the bravery of its crew inspired generations. Statues and memorials were erected in their honor, ensuring their legacy would never be forgotten. Pierce, now a respected leader in the new Galactic Council, looked out at the stars from his new flagship. "We've done the impossible," he mused, "and we've shown the galaxy what humanity is truly capable of." A bright future. The galaxy entered a new era of peace and prosperity. Advances in technology, medicine, and exploration flourished. Humanity and its allies stood as guardians of this newfound peace, ever vigilant against the return of tyranny. As the Nightshade story was told and retold, one message remained clear. No matter the odds, the spirit of humanity would always shine through. And so, the galaxy moved forward, forever grateful to those who had fought and sacrificed for its freedom. The might of humanity, once revealed, became a beacon of hope for all.